Today I'm going to talk about the basic CCU controller, which is the new product by CCU Basic Controller. I'm going to talk about an added feature called Advanced Mode. Now, the controller itself is called Basic not because it only does basic things. It's called Basic because it's got basic controls on here. You only got your iris and your pedestals and a LED to show you different statuses depending on what mode you're in. So basic is only just the functionality on the panel, but it does a lot more than just adjust iris and blacks. You can adjust just about every parameter that's available on the ATEM switcher. Here for this setup, I've just got there's just a super source. I've got 1, 2, 3 cameras, and these are 2 Blackmagic Studio cameras. This is a micro studio camera. They've all got I'll show you around here. They've all got Fujinon or Canon lenses on them. They're over there somewhere in the mess. And what I'm going to do today in advanced mode is just show you some of the features that you can do in advanced mode. Here's a list of the functions. You can see there we can do set the gain of in dB steps, set the shutter, the Kelvin. You can adjust the detail. You can turn the bars on and off. You can adjust the focus. You can adjust the zoom. Aperture is something that's there, but it doesn't work yet because there's no aperture control on the software control panel. Interesting enough. And then there's some features in the expanded CCU control, on which I'll show you, which are contrast, hue, saturation, and YRGB. All these are exactly the same functions as what you see here. You can see there's your gain dB, your shutter, your degrees Kelvin, and if you go into the expanded mode. Oh, sorry. Over here, first of all, we have you have your bars on and off and your detail settings, and if you go over to here, you can also then control, as I mentioned, contrast, saturation, hue, and YRGB. So they're all adjustable. They're all controllable within the 4xCCU Basic Controller, and the way you access those. Let me just scroll my cameras back here. The way you access those is there's a little button on the side here. This is a button, it's called Shift. It's a Shift button. And by holding down the Shift button and pressing any one of the 4 pedestal button knobs, which are buttons, by pushing them down, will put you into advanced mode for that particular allocated camera. So for the moment, I've just got this is camera 1, that is camera 2, that is camera 3, and that is camera 4, which I haven't got connected at the moment. And so subsequently, by holding down the pedestal button while holding on the Shift, will then put me into advanced mode for camera 1. This next button will do camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. When you're in advanced mode, you can also change to different cameras, and I'll show you that shortly. Just as a side, in the next video I'll be showing you will be the paint mode, and that's what that allows you to do, is allow the 4 knobs to do white, red, white, green, white, blue, and white Y, which is all 3. These will do black, R, G, and B, and Y, and then by holding your finger on the Shift button and pushing down any one of the 4 will then give you the gammas, but I'll show you that in a separate video. But in this video we want to go into advanced mode. So by holding the finger on the Shift button and pressing say camera 1, or we'll recall that CCU position A, but I've got camera 1 allocated to that, and then this will do camera 2. Just hold it down. And of course that one will do camera 3. So let's just go to camera 1. Oh, and slipped. And what happens as soon as you enter advanced mode, if you've got an aux bus or video hub selected, it will switch that up onto your CCU monitor, which I'm using up here. And if you've got the terminal connected, you'll see that if I can get it to expose, you can see here that it's showing you the status. It's telling you that we've just gone into advanced mode on CCU A position, which has camera 1 allocated to it. And it then always assumes the last selection that you had. In this case, I was doing a zoom. But if you haven't done it yet, it will go to the very first item, which is gain dB. And the way you change the setting is you just rotate the black knob, and the colour of the LED indicates what mode you're in. And I know for a fact that yellow, I don't know if you can see that is actually yellow or not, but that's yellow. And what yellow is tells us that we're in advanced mode, and we're in gain, which is the very first item. And you can see it shows you the gain mode, and it tells you the current value of that gain mode. But in most cases, you don't need the terminal screen as I just showed you. You can just do it if you remember the colours, or if you write the colours down. So we have yellow is gain, cyan is shutter, magenta is Kelvin, and white is the detail. This is flashing all colours, and that means colour bars. And if you actually have a look at the status up here, it tells you your colour bars, that you're doing colour bars, and it's currently off. So we can change the colour bar setting, and then when we go into the more advanced features in advanced mode, we just turn the knob again. Red flashing indicates it's in focus mode. Now again, these are only applicable to cameras that can actually handle these commands from the ATEM. Because these are Blackmagic cameras, they can handle these commands. Where was I? I was back at we're at focus, and then zoom is green, so that will allow you to control the zoom. Blue magenta is aperture, which doesn't do anything at the moment until it gets implemented by ATEM. And then we have blue white is contrast, blue red is hue, what's that colour? Green blue is saturation, and the last one is YRGB, which is yellow blue. So let's just turn it all the way back to the beginning, which is yellow, and yellow, if you remember, is gain. And so all we do is we just turn the iris knob to achieve the value we want. And again, you can probably do this by eye. You don't really need the screen, the terminal screen, to show you. But if I show you that we're doing camera 1, do a bit of focus. As I turn the iris knob, you see it's changing the gain value. And it's just end to end, it won't loop back. So once you're all the way anti-clockwise, as here, it'll only be 0 dB. And of course, if you have a look at the camera output itself, you'll see I'm switching the gain up. So you can just basically set your gain by your eye. You don't need to read the value, but it's there on the terminal screen if you need it. Here's me just winding it back down again. So it goes, they're the 4 values that the ATEM offers. The next item on here was the shutter, which is cyan, and again, by turning the same knob, you'll see the shutter will change there. That's me turning it there, and so it just goes end to end, so you can wind it all the way back and all the way forward. So let's put that back to what it was. So all the shutter values that are available on the ATEM are what this will control. The next item This is a Kelvin. That shows as magenta LED, flashing LED. You notice these other LEDs aren't flashing because they aren't, the cameras aren't, they're not selected as adjustable. It's only camera CCU position A, which I've got allocated as camera 1. So again, I can turn the degrees Kelvin up here and it will change, and I'll just leave it back there. The next item is detail default. Now with the detail, it will control the detail as you turn the iris knob, but it won't actually show here. You've probably seen this in another video. The ATEM software control panel will not show you this updating as you change it. You have to actually click off it and click on it. And I'll give you an example. That's, you see, that's color bars. So if I just turn the selector knob to color bars, if I then rotate the iris knob, you'll see nothing changes here, but color bars have come up here. And then if I just click off this, it's anywhere up there, and then click back on again, you'll see it's now saying the next function is to hide the color bars. And I can then just come back here, I'll just turn the knob anti-clockwise, turns color bars off, doesn't change the status here until you click off and click on again. I'm not quite sure why the software engineers for ATEM did it that way, but and the same applies with the details. If I just go back to detail on here, which is one knob back, there you go, detail, which is white flashing. As I turn the detail up and down, I don't know whether you'll see it on here or not. No, the problem is that the iris is wound flat out, but that's detail high, as it says up here, and as I turn the knob, it changes it to the available values, detail off. But because we don't have much light on this lineup chart, you're not seeing much change in the detail, but when you put it on a nice big white shot, you can see it bounding with detail. So basically, all the other knobs are self-explanatory. What did we say? We had bars, and then we had, I'll just quickly show you the focus and zoom. So I've just got that selected to zoom, which is flashing green. You can see it says up here, flashing green. That percentage tells you the actual current speed of the zoom, which is 0. It doesn't tell you the position of the zoom. That information is not available on the ATEM. So here we are. This is the output of the camera. And I can then, as I turn the knob, it will do a zoom somehow. There you go. So that's me zooming out and zooming in. Interestingly, when you're doing adjustments, these if you hold down the button on the pedestal controls, it puts you into coarse mode, so you can do fine adjustments just using the knobs, and you can hold down the button and then do, I think it's ×10, depending on the function you're controlling, but most of them are about ×10. And then I'll just go back to focus, which is flashing red, and then in here focus the galaxy first. As I'm turning the knob now, you can see the focus is changing on the camera, and I just zoom that out. Now the other function that is very useful here is that once you've entered this mode and you set up all the adjustments for your first camera, rather than having to go exit all the way out and then go all the way back in with the second camera, you can actually select it while you're in this mode. And before I show you that, while you're in this mode, you can actually still push the other camera's buttons to preview their output. And let me just give you an example here. Just bear with me for a moment. Let's go back to camera 1. Well, I'll put bars up on this camera up here, so you can see me going between them. So that's camera 1. It's got bars on it. So because it's the camera we selected to do adjustment, as I push any other camera, you can see up here as I hold the button down on the other camera, it's showing you the camera, but it's not giving you any adjustment on it. It's there mainly for matching. And so what it does, it'll always go back to the camera you selected. So I push camera 2 and I can push camera 3 for matching. What you can also do, as I was about to say a moment ago, you can actually now select any of these other cameras to do your advanced adjustments by pushing and holding the button for, I think it's about 3-4 seconds, and then take your finger off, and now all adjustments will only apply to the CCU B position. And of course, what that will also do is that when you use any other camera buttons, you can then gain match towards those camera buttons. And we can do the same with the third camera. Just hold the button for about 5 seconds. The reason you have to hold it for so long is because you still want to be able to push and to match the other cameras, but you don't want to hold them down for too long, because then it'll select the camera. So that gives you that ability to match to other cameras while you're doing the advanced mode adjustments. To exit the advanced mode, that's all we do is that we just push and hold the shift button for a moment, and we're now back out to normal operation. As you can see, we've gone back to program tally, preview tally, and aux bus tally. So so now we can just resume back to normal operation. And very shortly I'll be doing the paint mode, which we've got some interesting applications there for you. Thank you.